A factory assembly line is designed to run indefinitely. It relies on routine, repeating operations. But a project is entirely different. By definition, a project operates within strict boundaries. It is a temporary endeavor. It has a definitive beginning, a definitive end, and it exists to create a single, unique output. A common misconception is that project management begins with task execution. You gather a team, assign work, and start building. In reality, management begins long before execution, with strategic justification. Before a single resource is assigned, leadership reviews a business case. This document evaluates the proposed solution against hard costs and expected returns to determine if the effort is even worth the investment. Mastering this discipline requires looking past the daily checklist of tasks. The entire project lifecycle is an exercise in continuously tracking and controlling financial value. Organizations operate with finite capital. Every proposed project must compete against others for those limited funds, acting as a financial investment. This equation breaks down return on investment, or ROI. It acts as the primary filter. By measuring the expected profit against the total cost, leadership can quickly see which project promises the highest yield. A secondary filter is the benefit-cost ratio. You divide the total expected benefits by the total costs. If the resulting number is not greater than 1.0, the project is financially unviable. But simply adding up expected profits contains a critical flaw. It ignores the timeline. Time actively degrades the value of money. A high ROI is a dangerous illusion if it takes a decade to realize the returns. The financial metrics must account for time. To solve for time, analysts use present value. This mathematical tool discounts future promised returns back to what they are worth in today's economy. This graph maps a 2-year timeline. Let's say a proposed project promises to deliver $1 million at the end of year 2, assuming a standard 10% discount rate. We apply the time discounting mechanism. We drag that future return backward along the curve to see its worth right now. That $1 million in 2 years is mathematically identical to possessing $826,446 today. We apply the decision rule. If the project requires an investment of $900,000 today, it destroys value. The proposal must be rejected. However, if the required investment is only $700,000, the project creates a mathematical surplus. It is officially authorized to begin. The math grants the authorization. But these numbers only represent theoretical value. The team now has to physically build it. Once the project charter is signed, those theoretical returns are locked inside a strict operational framework. Every piece of work is governed by the triple constraint, or the iron triangle. The nodes represent scope, schedule, and finance. These 3 elements are deeply interdependent. If the client expands the scope to add new features, it mathematically forces the schedule to lengthen, the budget to increase, or both. The finance node acts as an engineered structure built to absorb the friction of real-world execution. This diagram shows how that structure is built. At the very bottom, managers aggregate the raw cost estimates for individual project activities. Next, they add contingency reserves to cover known identified risks. Combined, this forms the official cost baseline. Finally, executive-level management reserves are stacked on top to handle unforeseen unknowns, completing the total project budget. The budget is a defensive perimeter. It exists to protect the original business case from the chaotic realities of real-world work. During execution, most teams rely on standard Gantt charts. The fatal flaw here is that they only track the passage of time, not the actual realization of monetary value. The quantitative solution is Earned Value Management, or EVM. It merges schedule and cost into a single, objective performance metric. This graph charts EVM performance. The blue line is planned value. This represents the authorized budget spread across the planned schedule. The red line is actual cost. This tracks the raw capital the team has actually spent out of the budget. The green line is earned value. This is the pivotal metric, the quantified objective financial worth of the physical work that has actually been completed. Analyze the health at the 12-week mark. Earned value is tracking below planned value. The project is mathematically behind schedule. But look at the cost lines at that same week. Because the green earned value line sits higher than the red actual cost line, the work that was completed was executed under budget. EVM removes subjective reporting and optimism, providing an objective view of project health through data. Delivering a project under budget and on time fulfills the constraints, but organizational success depends on the subsequent outcome. The benefits management plan tracks whether the outputs from the project actually achieved the goals defined in the original business case. And this entire process operates within uncontrollable external market forces, heavily relying on the organization's internal process assets to maintain stability. From early justification through the baseline constraints to the objective metrics of execution, project management is the quantitative framework transforming organizational intent into measured outcomes.